Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I wanted to go through a little bit regarding the assignment, the final discussion post. So what you can see here is that you can see that I have the slide demo right here, and I have some slides. Now, you don't have to produce something as sophisticated as this or complex. You can do something a little bit simpler. But these are meant to inspire you as you're moving along in creating slides. This is a very important part of the class because this really is the culmination of everything. I want to be sure that when you leave, pardon me, I'm still getting over a cold, you can put together, a really good market research project and understand how to present data. And so here you can kind of see a little bit of what I've done. So here you can see for each slide, even if it doesn't look like this, for each slide, this is what you want to be able to do. I'm also going to build a slide with you. First off, you want to give your top line result here. This is where you report what I should be pulling out from the slide itself. Disney generally outperforms its film competitors in domestic box office. So we can see here, there's a trend here in which Disney has either been in the middle of the pack or it's been dominant. In the last few years, Disney has really been dominant in box office. And so you can see here, I have the top line result. And sometimes, you might see in industry somebody say, or explain a little bit more about what this finding means. Disney has been able to earn the most domestic box office revenue in the last 3 years. So very, very simple. Another instance of a slide that you can put together, again, you have your top line result here. You have your chart here. The chart will always go below the result. And then you'll see the base, number, and question. So I'll go over this a little bit here. Now, this chart is basically what you'll be doing for each survey question. You'll have to look at the, you'll have to look at the base, number of participants, and the question. And you'll always have this right here. This will go at the bottom for each survey slide that you produce. But for now, I'm simply training you on this. And so we have the top line result here. We have the data chart here. The base is construed or it constitutes really who took the question. So it looks at who answered the question. Participants who watch over the top OTT or SVOD services content at least once a month. Those are the participants who answered this question. For you guys, when you do your surveys, it may be friends and family of researcher. That's fine to put. But I just want you to understand the base means who took and answered this question. In surveys, sometimes there is skip logic. So not everybody who takes a survey in industry, not all participants who take a survey answer all of the questions, right? I may have moms answer some questions, or, tech-savvy dads answer some questions, or whatever it may be. Or, those who have high brand loyalty toward HBO, I might ask them how they perceive the brand rather than asking everyone how they perceive the brand. Maybe for whatever reason, I need to know how my loyal HBO viewers perceive HBO, right? And so that's what the base means. Who answered the question? Okay. Second thing here is number of subjects. That's what the N stands for. So 501 people answered this question. Fine. And then the question is right here at the bottom. And you can see that it's which of the following TV channels do you watch? 1 equals never, 5 equals frequently. You can see how people answered. You can see the format of the question, the amount of participants, and who answered the question. All of this information is remarkably important, really, when we're thinking about how we report results for industry professionals. And you can see the same thing here as well. You can play around with color as well with some of these slides. do it so that it's linked to something. So green is linked to the variety of content. Blue is linked to a high quality of content, and this kind of gold or yellow is linked to this. And so it's just kind of a nice way to highlight where information is. And you'll see in the data visualization presentation that I gave you guys, color's everything. Color really helps guide the eye or guide a pair of eyes as somebody is looking at your slide. You may want to bring attention to certain things. And so you can see here, I've done that a little bit here, and it offers a nice way in which to see the data. Okay, so now that you've seen this, the goal here is to pick out three simple stories. So I have Box Office Mojo open. You can also do the numbers as well if you're trying to find box office data. There's tons of stuff here that you can look at. You can look at theatrical markets and things like that here. I'm not sure why that's opening up here. Yeah, you can see, this is what I wanted. You can see tickets sold, total box office if you wanted. There are a lot of breakdowns here. You can also see the number of wide releases each year by film studio, top movie each year. So there's a lot of things here that you can present on. And again, don't go too crazy with this. What you should be after here, more so than anything else, is, I apologize for the advertisements here, more so than anything else, what you should be doing is looking at particular data sets here. That's the goal here, as you can see here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this right here, 2019 worldwide box office. And so you can see here, there might be a story here, right? So if we look at the top 10 movies, the Avengers Endgame is Marvel, which is Disney. The Lion King is Disney. Spider-Man Far From Home is part Marvel, part Sony, that's Disney. Captain Marvel is Avengers, which is Marvel, which is Disney. Toy Story 4, Disney. Aladdin, Disney. I think we have something here. I think it may very well be that it looks like 6 of the top 10 movies this year are produced by Disney. Okay, so very simply, I can highlight the data that I need. Copy. The first thing I recommend that you do is go to Excel. And this is really for any kind of charting. I really do recommend Excel. It is something people are terrified of using, but I am a huge fan of Excel. It does wonders. So here, we can see here, we can paste the information here. Okay. And so here you can see all of these particular items here. Okay, so really I just want to report the worldwide box office here. I don't need the rest of these columns, so I can delete. Awesome. Okay, it looks like I pretty much have what I need here. And so what I can do is, let me open up just kind of a new file here. We'll go here. The first thing when you're charting is you want to click on Insert Chart. So make sure you click on this first. Bar charts in this discussion post are fine. Please do so. It's just easy. You'll see this little box pop open here. And what I'm going to do is expand it. It automatically accounts for 3 columns of data. Now we only have 1 column of data here, right? Just the box office. Okay, so what we can do is we can drag this along. And what we can do is we can copy and paste here. And you can see that it loads up quite well. And everything here is in order. We're actually going to go over order in a second. But, so that's done here. What you can do, you can delete series 1. You don't really need it, at least in this particular activity. If you right-click the column, you can go to edit data. Oh, excuse me. You can go to add data labels. You can click on add data labels, and you can see how much each movie made. Here, you can have that written down here. Although with box office that might be a little bit difficult. You may elect to kind of shorten this if you wish, but I'm just trying to show you some of the features here. So finding here could be Disney movies are some of the biggest hits in 2019, right? You can say that here, put that there. This goes up here. What I will say for the bottom, down here, you can put source, and you can put Box Office Mojo. Right? Because again, even though we're not really surveying people here, it's important to also get into the habit of sourcing your slides. So that's kind of a nice little neat way of doing it. And it's sourced. And what you can put here is you can put kind of a further explanation here, you know, of the top 10 movies in 2019 have been produced by Disney. So again, you can do it this way if you wish. It's kind of a nice little neat way of helping to highlight what's going on in the chart. Certainly there's more that you can do with this chart. Certainly, you know, I would probably add a few other things to this chart before I would send it to a supervisor or to a client or anything like that. But at least you get the sense of it, right? What you do is you have your top line result up here. You might provide another sentence to explain it. And so then you have your, you know, data that kind of illustrates this. You know, by Disney, including Avengers, Lion King, Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, Toy Story 4, Aladdin, and Aladdin. There. And that's probably about all I would do here. If you wanted to, you could color code these as well. If you wanted, that's something else that people will sometimes do. I don't know that Disney necessarily has a color, but you know, you could, for instance, you can make Disney movies red if you wanted to. Here, just kind of as a way to illustrate, you know, Disney movies here. And so, yeah, and then what you could do is if you really wanted to highlight, you know, color code this a bit more, you have Disney. So you can see that Disney is obviously linked up to the rest of these. And so, you know, people can kind of quickly see, oh, he's talking about Disney. Disney is red, this is red. So that's kind of an example of how to put together a slide. You'll want to do 3 of these. You can go to Box Office Mojo. You can go to, you know, the numbers. You can go to, you know, VG Charts right here. This is another great site with video game platform information. If you wanted to do that, you can look at charts up here. You can look at, you know, yearly global sales of video games here. And again, it's doing the same thing. But the goal here is to make sure that you're, you know, looking at stuff. You can look by platform. You know, so if we looked at Xbox One, we can see video games that are rated highest or what have you be. Another thing I wanted to show you here is for your future survey, how to chart. And so this is a default chart. Now this is Qualtrics. I'm going to show you this right here. This is Qualtrics. So this is Qualtrics. I'm going to sign into this momentarily. Okay. Okay, so what I did here, motion picture survey test, I went here. These are all different surveys that I have run or am currently running. No rest for the weary. But this is what the Qualtrics database kind of looks like. Just so you guys get a sense of it. These are survey questions, so you can see here, yeah, we can unlock this, it's fine. You can see here a chart comes up. So these are all different survey questions. And you can see here, what is your sex? What typically spurs you to see a movie? All these surveys and survey questions here. So what you'll notice is there's this drag about kind of on the right hand side of the screen. You'll see that you can manipulate question types here. So you can go after a descriptive text question if you wish, or a multiple choice question if you wish. And you can literally have it programmed. And so you can add choices here. As you can see, choice 11 was added here, or you can delete it. So there are all of these different features here that are available on Qualtrics. But because this is an online class, I am going to be programming your surveys for you just to save you the trouble. But you'll see here with data and analysis that you can export reports here. These are usually Excel reports. If we go to report reports, we can go to share report, and we can go to a Word document. And this is how I'm going to be sending you your stuff. So the Word document exports, and you have something like this. Okay. So what I'm going over now is pretty much what you're going to need to do for your actual survey portion of your project. So for each question that you have, and you won't have as many questions as I have, do not be alarmed by this. This is how each question and the results will look like. I do it this way because it's an easier way for you guys to start charting better. Okay, so let's say that I have to chart this. I have to chart this. So I'm given some information here. I have counts. And so what I can do here, the total amount of counts here is 643. What I can do here is chart this. Okay, so first things first, let's go to the bar chart. Okay. So I have a problem though. My problem is, if we look here, where do you typically hear about upcoming movies in movie theaters? Check all that apply. Okay. If I look at this though, this isn't in order, right? It doesn't go from highest percentage to lowest percentage. That's going to be an issue for me. So if we copy this, we might have to go into Excel first to kind of flip this around. Okay. So what I've done here is I've copied my information. I recommend reporting percentages if you can. I think reporting counts gets a little bit wonky. So you'll come here and you'll do this. Okay, so we have a new Excel spreadsheet open. What I recommend is the following. So we need to sort this bar. You will click on this bar. You'll come over here to sort and filter. You'll hit largest to smallest. Expand the selection. Yes. Excellent. So what we have here is a ranking from largest to smallest. I recommend largest to smallest. You can do smallest to large, but we tend to read from left to right, and so it's best, I would argue, if you have largest on the left-hand side. of the screen. And so you should have largest up top here. And so everything is ranked. You can come back here, click copy, come over here. Again, we only have one column of data, so we can push this aside. Click over here, paste it in. Let's delete this because we don't need it. Excellent. The blue bar is right here. Excellent. There's nothing else here. Excellent. Let's see how our slide fared here. Oh, excellent. Okay. So everything is pretty much represented here. We can format major grid lines and things like that if we wish to, but I won't waste our time with that. Right-click here. Remember, you always want to have data labels. That's a really, really big thing in industry. Those of you who go into advertising or public relations, always label your data. Some people think it's really fancy. If you don't, I've never really understood that. It's really important to be able to do this. Remember, this is for your audience. You want people to be able to see what you're doing and what you're talking about here. See if we can punch this up a bit, punch that up a bit. Okay, that looks pretty good. And so if we're looking at this question, back to the question, we can do a few things here. Let's create just another box. Let's see here. That's interesting. Let's see here. Copy. There we go. Sometimes you have to play around with it. Okay, so I have my bottom box right here. I'm going to just increase this a little bit. And I'm going to do the same thing, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to do this and put that in there. Excellent. And so my question was advertisement recall. So I can just slide that in right here. No problem. That's easy enough. Actually, let me do this. Terrific. I'll fix the font later. Number of participants, we can say 643. We see that here. And then base, for this, I ran this survey. You know what? It was frequent moviegoers. Participants who viewed a movie at least once a week. That was the base. That's how I filtered out participants for this question. Excellent. So we're looking pretty good. We have everything here that we need. If we can just kind of standardize the font, I actually think we'll be okay. If we come here to body, we're good there. We can make this black. Bold, unbold, there we go. So everything is good now. This looks great down here. And then here, we can say something about the data. Now, when you're looking at the data, you want to think about something important, something relevant. So it seems to me that if we're looking at, where do you typically hear about upcoming movies, it really does seem to be TV commercial, trailer commercial, and trailer in movie theaters. So I would probably say that the big finding here is that traditional movie advertising is still impactful on moviegoers, right? It's still impactful on moviegoers, or another way that you could phrase this is moviegoers continue to hear about movies through traditional movie marketing, right? That might be a little bit better here. And then from here, we can try to explain this and break it down just a little bit more. Shrink this down, bring this down a little bit more. We can kind of decrease this font. Decrease this font a little bit. Through, through TV commercial, a trailer on YouTube, a trailer, or a trailer in movie theaters. That's really it. Moviegoers continue to hear about movies through traditional movie marketing. Moviegoers continue to hear about movies through TV commercials. You could say movie trailers exhibited on YouTube, or movie theater trailers. And that's really it. And then there's your chart. We have kind of the two sentences, if you will. And you have kind of the charting that's going on here. You may not need two sentences for both here. Sometimes you can get rid of one. That's not a big deal. But it is crucial that you do have a chart and that you have kind of your finding here. And then again, your base number of participants and question. If you have any issues, please let me know. I know this video was a bit long, but I did want to walk you guys through how to chart. Thank you guys.